Good evening. We are now gonna start the Forestville Town Board monthly meeting, which is held Monday, November 18th, 2024 at the Forestville Town Hall at 7701 County Road H, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. The time as of right now is 7:05 PM. Roll call
Kevin Gillett,
here.
Jason Clahutch,
Sure.
Larry Huber,
Here.
Dina Schmidt. Here.
Laura Baker.
Monica Nelson.
Juliana B.
Sue Schwartz.
Roy Engelberg.
And Teresa Clahutch.
Okay, thank you. Can we stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Verification of public notice.
It's posted on our town website and it was posted on our bulletin board and it was posted in the clerk's office.
All right. Agenda presentation. You guys see anything? Larry, you just had the one.
Item 15 has not been properly posted, properly noticed, so therefore we will not be moving into closed session. We can just skip that.
Yeah, I'm just making a note here. Okay. Any other corrections on the agenda that we want to talk about? Well, we should be good. It's not the way it is.
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll
With
second
the-
that.
All right. I got a motion from Jason to accept the agenda as presented with the correction of number 15 not being done, and a second by Larry. All board members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. Approval of meeting minutes from October 21st, 2024, and the November 8th meeting.
I just note that in the, meeting minutes of the October 21st, under road work, where there's a number of things under road and roadway. Where we talked about along updating Old Krieger Road, road right away, county line substation road class B, and there's no detail given on that, and Idlewild Road status of proposal. So as I don't recall that we didn't have a resolution to make that into class B.
No,
We talked about
we
that.
talked
with the
about it,
memorandum
and
of
Jason didn't get it done at that point in
At that
time.
point, I have it tonight,
Okay,
Yeah,
so when
Okay,
we go
but
down
that
to road
just-
work-
which we said it would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
brought up to the
Okay,
next
yeah.
meeting. I think there's
Right.
enough stuff going
You
on.
want me to add something there?
No, he just wants to
Okay.
clarify that
Yeah,
these
we-
minutes are.
it's on the minutes, but it isn't. There was no real discussion.
Right,
It was postponed table.
Correct.
because I thought we still need to have that memorandum of understanding from NFP before I could move forward with.
Right,
So that's-
Which we have for tonight.
Okay,
Right.
good, so,
okay.
Yep.
Well, given that, I make a motion that we accept the minutes, approve them both the minutes from the October 21st meeting and the November 8th meeting.
I second that.
All right, I got a motion from Larry to accept the minutes for the October 21st meeting, which is our regular board meeting, and the November 8th special meeting. All in favor?
All right,
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. Treasurer's report.
In the town checking, we have $1,356.23. The money market, we have $53,905.10. The broadband account, we have $15,650. And the CD for the fire department is $137,589.83. The cemetery account is $14,333.65. The LJP general is $110,806.45.
And the outstanding
Receivables?
payables, are just recent.
Yes.
Just went out.
Yes, they just went out on the 8th,
So-
or 11th, sorry, 11th.
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
I second that.
All right, I have a motion from Larry to accept the treasurer's report as written and presented, and a second from Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. Public comment. Do we have anybody online, Larry?
No, unfortunately, we don't.
Okay.
All my gyrations here may have messed up the ability for others to come in. That's just the way it is.
So before we get into Door County destination, is there any other public comment from anybody else in the room? Yes, Monica.
Could Dina just please repeat the amount of money we have for broadband?
Sure.
on here?
Broadband, we have, $15,650.
Thank you.
Is that the only question, Monica?
That's, yeah.
That was a grant received from.
From the county.
Yeah, and yeah, and I couldn't remember how much that was, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you're still working on it, and I'll look for the report down the loader.
Okay.
Okay. Roy?
Want me to go now?
Sure.
Okay, great, thank you. I want to thank our clerk for a great job on November 5th for the elections. That was a great job.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice, well organized, and so
Thank you.
we as citizens appreciate it. As you know, I represent Ward 2 for the town of Forestville in the county. And our budget takes a little bit longer to go through. We spent on September 5th, I believe, we spent a whole day up there going line item by line item. But here's a quick little, I just get you between you and Jason, and here's the accomplishments of what the county did in 2024. And of course, the year is still going on yet. You probably saw this already.
Have not.
Yeah, you guys said, you didn't get go through the agenda? There's two of them here, I think.
Thank you.
But here's just a quick thing what the county did last year and what's going on. The big thing for next year, as you probably know, that I'm also the chair for the Highway and Facilities Committee and also Highway Safety. And there's a lot of things going on in the Facilities Department. This past year, we were going out for bids for the addition to the museum. Unfortunately, the bids came in 1/3 more than we expected, and that was not in the budget, so that's been scrapped. So later on this, in the month of December on the 12th, we're gonna meet again with the new curator of the museum and see what else we can do for improvements in the Door County Museum. That's on the budget in the future. The other big thing that's happening in Door County as far as in the budget is getting ready for the new wave of communications for EMS, fire department and sheriff's department. And that's a big figure. That's over $20 million is what we expect that to be spent. And so that's being worked on right now. As far as your town association is concerned, I mean, your town here, you have a new code administrator for the planning department. Her name is Tara McCaffrey.
Darren McCaffrey?
You're right. I believe that's how she pronounces her last name, but I'm sure she's for Forestville because I just had a conversation for Claybanks, so I'm sure that's the new administrator.
I thought they sent the last, did they change something here in the last email that I received? Because it was Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff replaced Sue Vanden Langenberg. He is the administrator all
So then
over,
this must have just happened, not very long.
over the code, enforcers or administrators, zoning administrators is the correct. thing.
Okay.
He's over, yeah, Jess, Jess, Jess is he replaced Sue Vanden Langenberg and she was ahead of all.
What
of them.
was it,
no, Jeff
Kristen?
Kuso. Jeff Kuso you're talking.
You're
about.
right,
Yeah, not Jeff, Jeff.
It's Jeff, isn't
No,
it?
his name is Jeff.
Yeah, J-E-F, Yeah, okay, JERF, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a individual, only by
So-
once.
Okay, interrupting you here. So Jeff was, as Kevin talked about, he was replacing Sue Van and Langenberg, who had our town. But now,
Then it went from Sue
No,
to
Kristen,
Kristen.
Kristen,
Then it went from Kristen to Jeff, which was
Yes.
maybe 2 weeks ago that I got that email.
well, it's
Yeah.
a month ago, yeah.
yeah, because Sue Van Langenberg had got a promotion up into the overall, all of the zoning administrators.
No, Sue went to the DNR, now Kristen went to the DNR.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's not.
Oh.
What-
no.
They're all in the
They are
DNR.
no longer there.
Yeah.
Kristen and Sue are both gone.
You're
Tara
talking,
is new
Rankin.
there. Tara is new, but I don't know who else is taking Kristen.
no, Kirsten, you didn't have anything to do with Kirsten.
No, we
No,
don't.
no, you didn't, so,
We did it for a while.
well, you
Yeah.
did.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
did
wow,
for a
that's
while.
moving faster than I am.
There were too many changes up.
Oh, okay,
A very rapid fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was there for probably 6 months, I'd say.
Maybe.
Me, about that.
oh, is she?
Yeah.
But now we're with
Are you
Jeff,
talking about
right?
Rankin?
'Cause
Yes, Rankin.
Oh, she's there for
She's
years.
still there, but what they did
No,
is
she's not.
they were moving their positions is what they were.
She was helping with Sue's
No,
position
she's
until
got,
they found somebody.
she's got a new job at the DNR now.
Yeah.
She's gone though.
Yeah.
She's totally gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now, you saying Sue Vanden Langdenberg is with the DNR?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that I didn't know.
They're
That
working
was
together
way
now.
before.
That was way
last
before,
year.
that was, so
That's when Jeff
Jeff
came back.
replaced, yeah.
And Jeff is our contact, right?
Yes,
Cause
Jeff
I
is our
referred
contact.
someone to
Oh.
him.
Yeah, so that's who I contacted. was
That's
Jeff.
why.
I can't even keep-
So anyway, you got changes there, get to know who, stop in there and visit those people and get to know, get to know.
How do you spell Jeff's last name?
KUSSOW.
I had a
That's it.
card, I got my card on the kitchen table, but I didn't take that with
Okay.
me.
Okay, just so we know.
So that's quickly what's happening in the county. And so this is interesting what I passed out as far as what was accomplished in 2024 so far. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Roy. That's Nathan. Board County.
Ready for us?
We are.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Can you get some more paper just in case we're running low?
I didn't bring a match. So we're just gonna briefly share with you some of the things that Destination Door County is doing in 2024, kind of a segue. Thank you tonight for giving us time and this opportunity to present this to you. DDC is an organization committed to balancing sustainability and economic opportunities for our businesses, our local governments, and for our environment. Our foundational activity of attracting visitors sets off a chain reaction of economic benefits, which supports the initiatives I'm going to share with you. So you have the folder in front of you. I'm going to talk about a couple of the items on the left side and then just let you peruse the right side or use it for your fire starter, whichever you choose. And I just wanted to ask you real quickly, you have the flow chart in front of you from the left side of the package. Do you have any questions about that, or would you like me to briefly go over that? So that's where does our room tax dollars go in Door County?
Now, last year, they sent some dollars back to the townships, which was to be invested in something to do with coolers, and we invested ours in the sidewalk, which is awesome. Thank you guys for that. Are they gonna continue to do things like this?
Yes,
Yeah.
if you look at the flow chart, that is. Is it this name?
No, that would be the
It's in-
municipal reimbursement program. It's in green. So there is a portion of the room tax that is collected that goes to running the Door County Tourism Zone. And that is reimbursed by Destination Door County, based on the percentage of room tax that is brought in by each individual municipality. That does need to be allocated for expenditures that would apply as tourism promotion and development. The other 30% that you get from room tax can be spent any way you wish.
Which is the light blue box on the flow chart.
Okay.
I'm so glad Juliana's here because this is her area. And then being mindful that 19% goes to the strategic community partnership, which provides additional funding for the work that the community business associations do. And I can just share a little bit that I've been working very closely with the Southern Door Business Association over the last couple of months. And we are reinvigorating that association. We actually have our annual meeting Wednesday night and would love for you to come. It's at Idlewild Free Pizza.
Oh, and now you raise your eyes.
Any beer?
Sure there's beer there. Maybe make that arrangement. The next document on the left side of your packet is for the Community Investment Fund, and this was launched in January of last year. And it supports initiatives that enhance tourism infrastructure, cultural and historical preservation, and economic opportunities for our municipalities and nonprofits. This is funded by room tax collections allocated to DDC. So that, again, these funds have to follow Wisconsin Lodging Statute 66.0165. The information packet walks you through 6 rounds of funding. I know another one is coming down the pipe really quickly. The total amount of funding that DDC has provided through the CIF to date is over $1.66 million. All of these projects positively impact our communities, and I encourage you to reach out to the Door County Community Foundation to discuss any potential ideas you have for projects. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the playground at John Miles Park, partially funded by the CIF. So we're trying to make a difference. And then the next document on the left side is another funding opportunity for you. It's called our accessibility grant. And it's available to businesses and local units of government, which is you, to improve accessibility for our residents and for our visitors. That grant is reimbursed for expenses up to $1,000. It is on a first come, first served basis. I do know that there's still funds in that grant. And then the next document on that side is our biannual newsletter that we're sending out to the municipalities. I'm personally working on that, and you will be seeing the next issue in the next couple of weeks. And that's really all the kind of that applies to funding that you're eligible for. The right-hand side is our strategic plan, our all-important Door County-wide stewardship plan, and there's also the economic impact document on the back side of that side. So if you have any questions, or please feel free to reach out to us, especially the stewardship plan. The stewardship plan has contact information on the back side. It is a 10-year Door County-wide plan that we would love for you to go to that website and see what opportunities are there and how you could help us implement that plan.
Interesting. Do you have anything?
I do actually. I just have a few little things. So we're currently for the town of Forestville, there are 2 active short-term rental properties. One of them actually this past year was a compliance permit, which means that they were advertising the property for rent before obtaining the required documentation and ensuring that they had a license with the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. So one of the jobs in our office is to look out for properties on VRBO, Airbnb, Facebook, Craigslist, even sometimes, very rarely, just around the internet, or to take tips from the public in order to get those properties permitted and get them in through the process of starting to collect room tax. So far this year, it's about $2,000 in tax that will be the 30% directly sent to you. And it's about $6,500 in total for room tax that has been collected for the town of Forestville. And that's a pretty significant increase from last year. This past year, we've been seeing about a 2% decrease in occupancy overall in the county. But we've been holding pretty steady with the amount of revenues because people are increasing their rates a little bit. But you've actually seen almost a double, like almost double the occupancy rate in a couple of months because of the activity for the permit holders that you do have. So it's coming along steadily. There aren't any outstanding reports at this point in time. We got the one property into compliance. And so that's where we're at this moment. The other thing too, just briefly, we know that the draft is coming up in 2025. And we are currently putting out ads in the Door County Pulse a few times and running things on Facebook and trying to get out the message that if you are interested in renting your property, especially being somewhat close to Green Bay in southern Door County, the closer you get to Green Bay, the more we want everyone to be aware that if they are going to be renting a property, they do need to be properly licensed in order to start. Because even if it's one day that they're renting, they do need to be permitted with the tourism zone office.
So a question, I guess,
Yeah.
you found that one person wasn't compliant.
Yes, that's correct.
So did you help them become compliant?
Yes, we go through a process where, once we find the property, we send them a very friendly letter and say, hey, you know, congratulations on your rental property. We would like to, let you know that you need to be licensed in Door County. And then we have a second letter and a third letter with increasing seriousness. And if we don't receive a response, we include an attached application. If we don't receive a response from that, we proceed to our attorney and ask them to send a legal letter. If they don't respond to that, we actually have 2 cases right now which are going to court because they haven't applied for a license. So we rarely get to that point, but if we need to, we do.
Okay,
So if someone were to ask about short-term rental in our township, would I just give them you as our point of contact?
Absolutely.
Okay, so,
I believe we have a link on our town website,
okay,
and that has your information. there.
Yes, yeah, I actually, I check through most of the sites every year just to make sure that we're all set. And yeah, and we really do appreciate that because we get I would say about 30 calls per year or so, but from concerned homeowners or people that are in the area and are interested in making sure that their neighbors are permitted if they see a lot of cars going in and out of the driveway that they aren't, that they don't know.
okay.
Very good.
all right, thank you.
Anything else?
No, anything from you?
No, I think you answered all our
I
questions.
just want to thank you for your flexibility.
Thank you, yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot about you guys. Oh my God.
Yeah, we all make mistakes on one day.
Right, right.
Have a
All
good
right,
night.
Have a good
You
night.
too, you too. Do you want the extras?
I'll take one.
All
Thank you.
right.
Take care.
Is that one? Yep. Lauren?
So public comment is done. We are gonna move on to item number 7.
Yep.
Tina Steffens is petitioning for annexation of her property. I'm assuming you guys all have seen it. Yeah.
That's
survey.
difficult to read, but yes,
You
no, you
gotta have better eyes.
I have a big problem.
I think it's an age problem, it just keeps getting older. So I mean, everything is in order as far as the town board or the village board. And they're just looking for our approval, which, we can't really deny anyway, according to the legalities. I do believe the village has to pay us for 5 years taxes on that piece of property.
What reason annexing going, we're gaining or we're giving?
We're losing, so
the
the village is gonna,
Wants to annex.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't clear on here there, isn't it?
So what it is basically there's those storage buildings. That you already own, and she owns, is it the 20, there's quite a few acres, 20 acres. It's almost like 21 without annexation, right, if I looked at that correctly?
21, 25.
Yeah, somewhere in that vicinity. And they're looking to annex 0.86 acres. And then looks like put another building on, which half would be on the existing and
Correct.
ballpark of half
Correct.
on the new parcel.
Right, I want the business all in one jurisdiction and the, buildings now are in the village of Forestville.
Okay,
So there's is that this little building being depicted here?
yeah, the one with the little dotted line going right through it.
Right,
Because that would be the break of the property.
right.
Well, it's all her property, but
Well, I
I'm kind
understand.
of curious, why would a person wanna go to the village versus the town? What would be the advantage of that?
Well, the reason I have to do that is because when I purchased the property in 2020,
Okay,
the village, the township was not, willing to zone it commercial, and the village was. And so we annexed 3 acres to
Okay.
the village.
okay,
And
Right.
now I'm expanding, so I need to
Okay.
add more land to the village, so it's all in one jurisdiction.
very good, thank you.
Okay. So we just need to approve this petition.
pretty much, that's
Okay.
pretty much where it comes at. I mean, legally, we can't,
Right.
based off of anything I looked at, there's nothing you can really do.
Well, I make a
She's done
motion
everything
that we,
properly.
approve the, petition for direct annexation pursuant to section 66.0217 sub 2 of the statutes for the property, as depicted on that diagram by, that was provided by Tina.
What's the address, Larry?
Yeah,
N38
No, that's my house. It's 248 Highway 42.
Oh, 248.
Yeah, there might be an S in there. It depends on who you talk to.
There would be an S in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do Google Maps, you don't put the S in or you won't find it, but
Really?
on the WPS bill, it has the S.
S2, what is it?
248,
248 Highway 42.
correct.
Because the bills will always find you.
That's right.
I make that a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have a motion by Larry to accept the petition, as presented, and a second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry. So do you need a copy of the minutes once they're presented for Carrier, whatever? I mean, they'll be online, you'll be able to print them right off.
I'll just print it and forward it to him. So he can.
There'll be a recording available online. In the next day or two, but the actual minutes themselves will not be approved. for a month.
Yeah,
Okay,
But Barry can go on with it.
we've done it once before, so I'm sure he's familiar with the process.
Okay.
okay. Perfect. Item number 8. Notice of non-compliance property assessment.
so,
Are you good then?
Might have my
yeah,
own.
Kevin and I received this notice
Okay,
from the Department of Revenue, I think.
So basically what this is they're saying that we have to go through a full assessment because we've been non-compliant for basically 4 years in a row. So from my understanding, what they're gonna do is they will give you this notice, the first notice. And if we do nothing, they're gonna give us a second notice, and then we'll obviously need to deal with it. So the thing is this came after we did our budget. And that creates a little bit of a problem, because to do this assessment could be anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000. Okay, well, we don't have that in our budget. So based off of that, my recommendation is, we know we have to do it, we know we're gonna do it. We just ignore the first one and put it in the next year's budget, and then we go ahead and do it.
Because they
That's-
do give us,
They give us a little grace period there.
yeah,
And at the same time, then we can get a kind of an appraisal of, an estimate of what this is gonna cost from our
The
assessment
assessor,
place.
yeah.
So we know what to budget for the following year. You know, cause obviously it's been a while since we've,
Is there a completion date on there?
well, as far as,
When
It says if
assessment needs to be
a
done?
compliance is not achieved in 2026.
Okay.
correct, meaning you're gonna get another year.
Yeah.
Which is, this is probably the right way of doing it, right? You're gonna have a couple years. Well, yeah, cause it'd be different, if it was only $10,000-$20,000, but it's not. That's a considerable amount of money
Right.
to have that redone. And obviously nobody is gonna like that, but it is what it is. They're gonna force their hand. So that was my opinion on that. I don't know how the other board members feel as far as, you know, your budget's done. I don't know where you come up with $50,000 to $70,000 out of a budget that is already,
No, I'm in agreement that at this point, we've now been advised. And yeah, we'll have to budget for that for the coming year,
right. Okay,
next year. I mean,
correct. And I don't think there needs to be a motion on any of that because it is what it is. It's more of a, we're gonna bring it up and we all know what we're dealing with.
2026.
2026, yeah. Okay,
Right.
all right, what are we next?
Okay, item number 9, Southern Door Fire Department report / updates.
All right. I can tell you our last meeting was November 13th,
Oh,
and the treasurer reported
okay, cool.
$12,353.83 in checking. $190,149.45 in the money market. In the 3 CDs that we have, there's a total of $212,931.45. For a grand total of all those liquid assets, cash assets, $434.73. The loan on the fire truck that we received last year is down to $201,421.74. And remember that's, the loan was 2.75, the loan rate on that. And then, we did, I'll touch on this a little bit later, just a little bit down my report here. The second loan we have now is $110,251. That's the air pack loan that I mentioned we were going for, and that loan rate is 6.25%. And I'll touch on that, that loan here in just a little bit. In the chief's report, 6 fire calls, been a busy month. October 19th. 14:03 PM, 5712 Salona Road, dirt bike crash. The rider was thrown from his bike. They provided patient care and set up a landing zone for Eagle 3. Oh, yeah.
It's a hell of a crash.
October 20th at 21:03, 1444 Jackson Harbor Road, Washington Island. This is the fire in Washington Island. They provided a squad, a chief, a brush truck, and the UTV to help out with the fire in the island. And from what we heard, yes, it was a fire pit, but it hadn't been burning for 3 days. It had been smoldering underground. The ground is kind of like peat moss kind of soil up there. And when the wind picked up, it ignited the fire and into the woods it went. October 21st, 14:26 PM, 200 East Main Street in Forestville. Illegal burning, no problems were found. It was also a fire pit, but it was no illegal burnings, no citations or nothing were given. October 29th, 14:35 PM, Swamp Road at Trueway Road, mutual aid to Bug Fire Department for brush fire. Supplied an engine, a brush truck, the UTV, and a tender. This is the swamp fire they had out there Bunch of departments responded. October 31st, 19:25 PM, 629 Truway Road. Mutual aid to bug for a chimney fire was canceled prior to arrival. November 9th, 1434, 110 Park West Street in Forestville, West Park Street in Forestville. Vehicle ran into a house. Provided patient care and helped board up the house. The vehicle was coming from north and made a U right into the house on the corner of Park Street. Not in the driver was not the occupant of the house. So. Training in November. Come on, sunshine. All these fires started at the people passed it out, right? Training in November, is with the new air packs that we did receive, that I have been reporting on. The, chief secured a house to practice in. And, a waiver of liability was signed with the owner, and they were planning on training again next week, which is tonight, I will assume. Engine 909 is the one that went in for repair to Marion. Is back, and it did, as I heard today, it did pass the pump test. Everything is good to go on old engine 909. And the new one, the new four-door pickup truck was taken on, will be outfitted with the box, the slide in, whatever you wanna call it, so. The LoSAP committee met and they reviewed the LoSAP points in the point system. They're satisfied with the results. Chief 360, that is the app that the firemen use for responding to calls, is they wanna stay with that app for another year. There are 3 fire inspections left for the fall cycle. 29 so far have been completed. A leaf blower mister has been purchased. It's ready to use. It was purchased with grant money that they received. The chief will be out of the country from November 29th to December 7th. Over the country, little vacation, Norway or no. Islands, some kind of nice warm island.
Washington. Warm, sorry.
Some kind of warm island down there in the Pacific.
Someplace, so.
The initiation banquet, it will be held in March and tentatively, they haven't picked a date yet, but it will be at Off the Hook in Algoma this year. They want to support other businesses that do support our fire department. The firefighter picnic is July 26th, 2025. The UTV is going in for a service, the tracks fall off. There's some. They're running at an angle, and when they get into these situations like at Washington Island and in Brussels, the tracks come off. And also it's going in for oil change and everything else. And in our section of all other matters, I was mentioning the last couple of meetings, we're looking for an accountant. A interview committee interviewed 2 ladies. And we recommended to the board, the committee recommended to the board to hire Queen Mitchell at a rate of $250 a month, which is actually less than what we got our guy hired for right now. She beat out the other gal for 2 reasons. For one, she does live in the township of Forestville, and she has the ability to do taxes. I mentioned before the CDs we have, the last 2 remaining CDs were renewed for 8 months at a rate of 4.65 APY. The airpack funding, back to that, the airpack funding loan was secured to $110,251 at Capital Credit Union, 5 years for 6.25%. I gathered together about 70 sheets for Capital Credit Union, which they turned over to their, I don't know, to the powers to be in the office there were about 70 sheets that I had to make copies, last 3 years of financial statements and profit and loss and everything else, so. Something that might come up here, the summer, so a board member from Playbanks, Jacob Bry, has requested that possibly we move our meeting times in summer to 7 PM to give a little more time for him to complete his farm planting and harvesting duties. If we do move the meeting times, that is, our bylaws state that our meeting times are 6 PM, we would have to change our bylaws, so we'd have to have a special meeting to change our bylaws. I'll keep you updated on that.
So would they go summer and winter hours? Is that kind of
Correct,
what you're
probably
talking
about
about?
6 and 6, you know, from like May, June, July, August, September, October, at 7 PM, and then through the winter at 6 PM. But yeah, it has to be a bylaw change, which we have to post to the Pulse, and we have to let the townships know. So. And items for future discussion, there's a talk on possibly investing some of the liquid cash assets we have into little higher yielding higher funds. So
Like a CD higher,
possibly,
whatever,
right? So
is available.
Keep it in there longer, right?
8 months is the minimum usually.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Lauren, the system that they're using right now as far as communications. When the county updates. While you were a long ways from that, right?
Right.
Ireland, is that compatible or we have no idea?
The whole county will be compatible. Every fire department.
I'm saying the program you guys are using right now, the software you're using, whatever it was that you're.
That Chief 360,
Yeah.
that is a phone app, that is a cellular app.
So that has absolutely nothing.
Nothing to
with the
do,
radio
nothing to
side.
do with the county.
So they would still keep that no matter what, if they continue to like it and. Good. Okay, I'm just curious.
The county's switching over to digital, that would be everything for the county, for police and first responders and what have you, fire departments, where this is just strictly this
Just,
app,
in-house.
yep,
Okay,
that's enough.
all right, thank you. All right, moving on to item number 10, sanitary district. Do we have anything from them?
They adopted their budget for 2025. So, and then our levy amount is gonna be 20,170, which is considerably less from last year. It was like 59,000. But, beginning this month, remember, we had the increase in sewer fees. So ours went up. So it usually was like $1 something. Well, we got two separate charges. It's $22 for the
It's a
public
public
fire.
fire. What is the public fire? Anybody know anything? I seen that on ours too. I don't know.
That should go ahead one of them one time.
The meeting tonight, and then we have the water service of $47.20. So we're used to this being like $1 something charge. Now it's $70,
It was like 40, it was like 40,
right? Because this was always,
$48 before or something like that, or?
this was 108. You know, this is,
Oh,
this
this is two
is,
separate.
yeah. So this was like $1. Our whole.
And it was like 76 altogether.
Yeah,
Yes, all of it was 70, like 76.
So is this why our levy went down is because of the increase over here and they've got more funds to operate with?
Right.
Right, yep. So just so you know, Chris was gonna come to the meeting, but he said he was going to the village first, then if he had time, he was gonna stop here, so,
Okay.
but just so you know. We're gonna
Does this have partly to do with what they're trying to get down to Forestville?
I don't know. I think some of it might be repairs and stuff on some of the lift stations we've gotten. I don't have you. Has anybody else heard of anything?
Digging up on.
Yeah.
That was like a culvert or something they're digging up, I think.
It was right by that lift station.
Yeah, they said that there was,
Yeah, right. Sure.
yeah,
That old church.
I read something about in their minutes. Something of-
This is what, Christie,
Last time. I
last
talked to
week, I think,
Chris
he
about the
stopped at my house.
The DNR.
the DNR, that's a process that's gonna be a long time coming.
Oh, really?
Like broadband.
Okay, well, we got an update on that.
Yeah.
Item number 11, driveway ordinance restructure and increase of fees. Well, this is something that we did actually last month.
We're taking off.
Did
Yeah.
that have
Oh,
to do
okay,
with
we'll
this?
just take that off.
Let me see. No, this one here is,
Okay.
this one here, oh, you mean with the fee thing because it's kind of over the road?
Is that under the roadwork?
Right of way in the road, yeah, so that's where we would actually hit that one.
This is
so,
the
I'll put that aside.
We'll talk about that
Thank you.
later. Okay.
So we don't have,
We did that last month is what we did, that one actually could have come off.
Yeah.
okay,
11.
Where we had updated the ordinance, right?
11,
And then we had changed the fee as needed.
Great.
right. Okay,
So item number 12, basically the ad hoc committee for the town park improvements. I now have, I have the deed of the property, which we had just gotten from the attorney, okay? And we have to do a couple of things is the way the attorney wants this to be done here. So for SNS, I'll need to have Randy sign these, which I did talk to him about, and we'll have to have them notarized at that point, which I'm assuming you can
Yeah.
do, okay? Then what we need to do is we gotta have this recorded as of a town meeting that we are accepting the gift of the land, okay? They want that in the minutes.
Okay.
Then on your LLC, we basically need you to have in your minutes somewhere that you are gifting the land and your LLC accepts that.
Okay.
Okay, then, we just need a couple other things like your EIN number and the town of Forestville's EIN.
I have
We'll
that.
need that as well for them. And then that's basically it, other than, whatever SNS wants to have as far as, a value. You know what I mean, on that end of it, that's what he's asking for, so these are some of the things that we gotta get.
You could put a value on the land that we're donating.
Yeah, which I think is beneficial to you guys more, you know.
but we can't act on it until some of these steps have been taken.
Well, we have to act on, we are gonna, so what I'm gonna do is ask for a motion here to accept the gift of the land as it has been presented on, you know, on the survey, which we've all seen and whatnot.
Well, we talked about, yeah.
Yep, so it's exactly what we have talked about, and which we all did, but therefore in the minutes, there's, you know, where your attorney's asking, listen, just let's make a motion on it, that we're gonna accept that gift, and then if it passes, that's what we wanna do. And then it's recorded in the minutes,
Right.
and then we'll just give them a copy of those minutes
Okay,
when presented.
would make a motion that the town of Forestville accept donation of property from, what would it be, SNS Ag or
Mhm.
Yep.
SNS Jersey Lender.
SNS Jersey Land Dairy, provided they provide the deed,
Yep, well, the deed's here,
the deeds here, I'll just have to record
just gotta record it, yep.
Okay.
it, so. For minutes, we'll accept that, yeah.
I second that.
All right,
And thank you very much for the donation.
That's
That is a very
Yes.
generous donation.
so I have a motion to accept the gift of, land, from SNS Jersey Land Dairy LLC. As presented on the survey that we've all seen, and a second by Jason, all in favor?
All right,
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that will carry.
okay,
So then that'll allow us to move forward with some of those things. She is still collecting, testing stuff to find out values, and then we're gonna see where we're gonna go for funding of that, you know, which.
Develop the park, yeah.
Right, to develop the park, which winter will give us a little bit of time to dig into that a little bit deeper than where we've been sitting lately. It's just been a lot. Okay, so there's your update on, that. Cemetery report, is there anything?
We did our fall cleanup. And no, Roy, we're not selling a lot of lots, but we have them marked
Yeah, beautiful.
properly.
States all over.
Yes, we wanted to make sure that we had the stakes marked, the lots marked. Particularly for winter operations, should we have burial, we have to know where to go. And so thankfully Jeff Hansen had plenty of stake material and we used it all. We were able to find markers that we had put in last spring. And both Jeff and Jim were amazed at how difficult it would have been had we not put them in with those big metal stops, because they were all covered, they all grew over. So that's the gist of the cemetery report. It's all cleaned up. Both cemeteries are looking good. And we did find a headstone with a new brass marker added to it, which was kind of a surprise to us. And this is an old burial. This goes back into very early 1900s. And it was one of the soft limestone markers. And there was a brass marker put onto it and set into the headstone itself with epoxy. Brass is beautiful. You could not hardly read the face of the stone. Now you know exactly what's there. So that was impressive. Cool.
All I know is the cemeteries do look nice, so you guys do a good job. Thanks for doing that. Broadband update.
Okay, here's some information. The preliminary Wisconsin broadband project units have been identified. Monica, you wanna look at this? I think I shared that with you, Rob.
Yep.
Okay, so on the information that I provide there, the front page is a summary of the units that would affect the boundaries of the town of Forestville. When you go to the Wisconsin Public Service Commission map, preliminary data, they have all of these listed, and they're listed, and they do not in any way correlate to municipal boundaries. So I had to zoom in to try and find exactly where the boundaries are for the town of Forestville. So you'll see where County Road S comes. You'll also be able to determine in the bottom it's County Line Road. This is County Line Road down the bottom here. And what you'll see are these colors. There's various colors, and then there's colors that have hash marks in it. And this is where overlapping where these project areas overlap. And so it was a little difficult for me to understand fully what was going on there. How did they arrive at that? What does it mean to us? And the net result of this is that there's work that has already been done by the Public Service Commission, and they'll be opening these projects for bidding starting the first of the year, to the best of my knowledge. I really have more information to provide, but unfortunately, we cannot share that right now until we notice it to the town properly. I've had some communications about this, but it would be proprietary in nature, and so therefore I was advised by Jessica Hatch to not discuss the additional information that has been provided. I'm working pretty closely with our contact for our local incumbent carrier, which is Brightspeed. And I'm also working, closely with, Jessica Hatch, which is York County Broadband Coordinator, to make sure I'm getting the information that I need to get. So, if we can put down and notice properly for next month's meeting, I will have more information I'll be able to share with the board. But it would have to be in closed session. Because, it can't, we cannot, discuss publicly what the plans are in place for bidding, because it would jeopardize it may jeopardize our ability to, get any funding. So I'm still working on funding. And, I'm working with people necessary to see that this continues to move forward. Jessica Hatch will be at next, Thursday's meeting, the Wisconsin Towns Association. And she and the economic development people are going to make a presentation about the status of the broadband. There was supposed to have been a broadband summit that did not occur. And there was some, I question what happened with that. And there was not a lot of interest. People were not, making reservations. So rather than having New North and others come in, they, at the last moment or the last minute, just canceled it and said that there's not enough interest in it. So that was, something that I had planned on looking into, but obviously it didn't occur. And I'm looking forward to see what they're going to be presenting at the Towns Association Door County Unit meeting on Thursday. So that is all I can share with you guys today.
Larry?
Yes.
Okay, so as Claybanks is getting their lines in and all that kind of stuff, at the same time, I assume it was the stage or whatever that came by on our side of the road, on S, and marked everything where the telephone lines were and have taken a lot of the telephone boxes or knocked them over or whatever. They're not in service anymore. And I was wondering how that affects you're going ahead with. Are those lines already taken care of? Do we have to pay for this again? Is this a state thing, or how does, do you know anything about
Don't
that?
know about that.
Yeah, I was very surprised because all of a sudden we have a person on our porch looking for where the telephone line would go into our house, which, you know, of course, we haven't used for, I don't know, 10 years.
What was your old phone number? Was it a?
743 number, yeah, not a,
So that was,
Forestville number, yeah.
yeah, see, we have in areas of the town, we have some service coming from Algoma.
Right,
We have some service coming from AT&T, which basically is your 743 numbers.
yeah, and we have a station just over on J,
Right.
but that's in Claybanks.
Right.
The AT&T station was there, you
Right.
know, so, but yeah. So I was just,
So part of,
everything was marked by the press,
Right.
now it's all gone because, except for
Well-
the posts. They did put some stakes in, but all the flags are gone, you know, that were in the ditch there and actually onto
Yeah.
our property.
this process, there were multiple grants from the Public Service Commission, the state of Wisconsin, to develop broadband access broadband equity and access deployment. And what happened, some of these early on grants were to putting in, they were calling it middle mile, I believe is what they called it. And in other words, building out, so some of these service providers would be able then to get onto a backbone. Now, the funding from the state, this $1.56 billion for BEAD, broadband equity and access deployment, was set up and that generated these maps. From there, they're putting these projects out for bid. That process takes place starts in January. They will have, they close in, I believe it's April or May. There won't be any information as to who won any of those bids until probably midsummer. At which time then those projects that are bid upon will have to be worked through contracting for installation. And that will probably not occur, those things will not occur until the end of 2025. And the construction would probably occur in 2026,
So,
starting.
right, so,
And what Clay Banks basically did was they didn't wait for anybody. They went and said, we're funding it on our own,
right,
and they made their contract. And that's why things are happening in that area. So that when we take a look at the maps that we're looking at these on the Wisconsin Public Service Commission thing, that's a non-entity. It's not a requirement because they're already underway. But there's also white spaces in there. White spaces are just markers where there are no identified potential customers.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're along S there, if you go along there, you'll see that the stakes are every so many feet, they have nothing to do with property,
No.
with residences, I
Right.
guess you'd say. But for instance, our property has three different parcels on it, so there are stakes possibly for each one of those, and they probably won't be used, but.
When we were going through, Roy, you were on the broadband committee for Brussels, Union, Gardner, and Forestville. And the one thing that we were talking about is making sure that all of the locations that the National Telecommunication Infrastructures Agency, NITDA or something like that, had identified through their surveys and everything else would be serviced. And that was one of the criteria, as I recall, in that committee meeting.
Right, so looking for a drop at each parcel.
Yep.
That's what, now, a drop doesn't mean you're gonna have service to a house, because there's no house there.
Right.
But it's just a drop, so in case that a house gets sold, then they can tap into the fiber.
In other words,
Otherwise, if they didn't do that, then they could. So what you're talking about probably was Bertrand thinking that you were going to be hooking up with Bertrand on the Claybanks, and that's not the case. I don't know why they would even be knocking on your door looking for a location.
Well, they didn't even knock on the door. I haven't seen them say, what are you doing? You know, whatever.
They're on the west side of Tony, yeah,
Yeah.
in Forestville Township.
Right, and it's only that's been 10 years.
There's a Carter Road.
From Carnet to Jay, that's
Yeah.
it, you know, so it's kind of weird. But,
Yeah, it's a real difficult world to navigate through
Right,
and understand.
Right.
We were looking at some 600 and some thousand, or 650 or 680, I forget how many 911 locations. But when I started going through the, serviceable locations within the project areas that I could identify, I came up with like 800 and some,
Yeah,
which is larger than the number that the committee was working with. However, there's some overlaps. And so I probably have included some of the overlaps. And if you take a look, I mean, they may have been counted in both units. And so to drill down on the Public Service Commission website, you can go right down and see where your house is at.
Yeah.
Now, what project unit are you in and who's gonna bid on that? Well, that's the it's a very, complex, this thing they call those Lego blocks, I don't know where got that term.
Shape.
Yeah, they're hexagons. I don't know how they came up with that, but it makes no sense. But it obviously made sense to somebody. So that's what I had identified just when I saw on the public website. You can go out to the Public Service Commission website and take a look. Good luck.
Well, it's just like transmission line things over.
Yeah,
So, just, going forward with this, so the town of Forestville is pretty much waiting for, funding, that's public funding, and not just the town of Forestville citizens, correct?
our original resolution was to provide 25% of the funding at the time that we were aware of. And at that point in time, we wrote an agreement with Brightspeed. They were going to pick up 25% of the funding, and then they were going to look for 50% of the funding from this Public Service Commission. That was predicated on that point in time.
Yeah, so how's that going? How do you think it, I mean, are we still on a path to?
We are on a path to get broadband service, yes. Funding, I cannot talk about,
That, okay, so that's what you're waiting for, okay.
okay? So
Thank
that's
you.
where we're at.
I know it's a process and.
It is a process, and if we were to talk about any of the additional information that I could have, we may put that bidding process in jeopardy, and I do not want to do that.
So if you're underserved or unserved,
Which we all are.
which we all are, and if you want something before the end of this decade, probably get Starlink. Is where I'm looking at.
Well, I've had people call me
That's
specifically and ask, when is this going to come in? We need it for our business.
Yeah.
I said, if you have a business, go to Starlink. It's an expense you can write off. You will not see anything broadband fiber to the premise for probably 2 years. Period.
Then you
That's
can
the truth
drop
of
your
the matter.
Starlink after,
Pardon?
once you get that, then you could drop your Starlink. if you
Yeah,
had to,
sure.
So, perfect.
Yeah, because it'll be 100 megabit symmetrical. So it'll be up 100 megabit up, 100 megabit down, and that's an entry point. Originally, we were talking at what, $49 a month
Yep,
So-
or at least the first year was 49.
for 3 years.
For 3 years, first 3 years.
It was the first 3 years after it went in, based on those costs from a year ago, basically is what we were talking about. So at this point in time, it will happen. We will get funding. The amounts and the timelines, I got nothing. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Gov and website update.
Oh, hey, Gov. Hey, Gov. Did you happen to, did you?
No.
I want to commend you, really, I'll say
It
this.
came and went, and I didn't even know it happened, so
Well,
it was what, November 11th or whatever?
yes,
Yeah, no.
there was a meeting. How can I say this? Teresa has done a phenomenal job in adapting what we have in the way of digital services and website updates and that type of thing. So the meeting,
Right. Yeah.
are being scheduled, the online capability is being scheduled by, Teresa at this point in time. She's doing a good job on that. Just take it to it. There's a new facility that they are going to be offering, and it's going to be creation of your agenda online. Right now, what she'll do is, has to scan our agenda. And then, once that's scanned, it's got to be put in order that we actually conduct it, because it takes a scan and it builds an agenda, but it may or may not match our agenda. So this thing, this message that I had sent out, they wanted us to take a look at and get feedback on the agenda builder.
Okay.
And it would also incorporate embedding of the, let's say, the Zoom information. It would all be built on their site, at which point then, once we have a recording, the recording generates the minutes. And that just is a burden that she doesn't have to deal with. I assume you like using that.
Oh, yeah, I love using it. Oh my
It
God.
saves a lot of time.
Right, and sometimes I generate the minutes in long form, short form, and medium form, but.
Well, yeah, sometimes they make a lot of sense
Yeah.
and sometimes they don't make a lot
Right,
of sense.
so, yeah.
But we work through those bits
Yeah.
and pieces.
Yeah.
Now, the other piece of it that has come to play, there's a couple of other things in there. One is the Stripe payments. Now, you have not yet seen any change on that, but you saw the message I got through on that. They're working on that, and I got, as a byproduct of this, you want some input, I'll give you input, and I talked to them about that as well. So what happens is, when we had in July, I think we had like 5 or 6 reservations and a dog license and a driveway permit and reserve the town hall and all kinds of stuff. And what Dina gets is something that says a deposit,
Straight deposit.
a Stripe deposit. Doesn't tell her what's it for or anything else. So she's got to go back and try and pick out, well, is this for a driveway? Is this for a rental of a car? Is this for a dog license? What's it for? Oh, well, and by the way, we gave a refund for somebody because they got their $50 back, but that was deducted from the payment. And you sit there and you just scratch your head. You don't know what's going on. So they're working on that particular problem. The other thing was that we had a driveway highway access application that was available online for people to download if they wanted to do it manually. It didn't match what was online. That got fixed. We now have that.
Glitch.
It's a glitch. There's also 2 other things that we have to work with. And that has to do with our underground right-of-way permit and our above-ground manure line permitting. And then there's the dog licenses, the kennel license and the individual up to 3 dogs. Today, that is working for the dog license, both of them, for the kennel license for the individual dogs. And the other ones that are working, you do have that highway access permit application is out there, both manually, and they're both in sync with the digital. The problem I think that Teresa, you're encountering today is that reservations are coming in for January or beyond,
Yes,
and we've changed the rate, and I cannot seem to get that form because it's a complex form. It's got multiple, if you're a resident, you pay one rate, you pay
Right.
another, you've got pavilion, you've got town hall rental. And so those pieces are in process,
yeah.
and I think you have some pending.
Yes, I wanted to ask what to do with that. I have a pending one. They're requesting it, and they pay by credit card for June of 2025. And we're
Right.
increasing our fee. So,
Well, and
Do they have an email or anything that you can email them? Is
They
there
have an
on
email.
there?
oh, they do, okay.
Maybe you
There's
should
an
email
email
them and just let
associated
them know
with
that.
with that reservation that's pending.
Yeah.
So I would notify them
Okay,
of the increase effective the 1st, and you may have others of those that occur here in the next
Yeah.
month until we can get that resolved and posted. Now, the notice on the highway driveway access permit was, I put a notice out there that the fee is increasing from $20 to $50 effective the 1st of the year. I can't get that notice out there for the town rental properties because of the challenge that I'm encountering with the way the process is handled.
There's one thing on the dogs. when they do line and they put the dog information in. I think we talked about having them put their tag number, or their vet tag number in there. And I,
Vet tag, veterinarian number.
yeah, the
Veterinary.
rabies
You get a
number.
little tag, right?
Yes.
There's a number on
It
there.
has, that number somehow needs to be in there, and I think that's what was missing last year.
Okay, well, I believe that, check out the, check out I'm gonna have to look at that one again. I don't know that it says
'Cause
specific.
it doesn't say that, and they were putting a different number in there. I don't even know where they were getting the number, but,
They were
or they
probably
were.
getting a veterinarian registration.
Yes, I think they were using that twice or something. I don't remember
Well-
exactly, but
You're the one that puts the dog license tag number to each dog,
yeah, that, but not the rabies tag number.
not the rabies tag. So
So I need the rabies tag number.
And does it say that right on there? Some type of.
No,
No, it doesn't
No,
say
it does
rabies
not.
tag. That's
Yeah, it
right.
does
That's
not.
what they're talking about.
That's
It's not clear on a few of those things. We'll
Right.
simplify that.
So you need the rabies tag number
mhm.
on the app. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on between broadband and, HayGov and whoever else knows what's going on. There's a lots of it. Been a little busy. That's all I can say.
Thanks for the updates. Item number 17, correspondence.
There's the WTA meeting on Thursday.
I'll be
You'll be
going,
going? Okay.
now,
That one I will not make it to.
I'm not gonna make that one either.
I'm not either.
So I think maybe you're the only one going.
again,
Yeah, again,
well,
This is Thursday,
Thursday.
that's
At
Thursday
6
in Liberty Grove.
but I have to go to the one over at,
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna make that anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll let
Sleeping
Lena
in
wait.
that.
then. I'll call her.
Then I have one other question. Could we have a request from a couple who's disabled about our garbage? They wanted to know if we have something like in-service garbage or something where someone can like pick up their garbage for them or so, cause you put it out at the curb, is there like drive up that our garbage people do or?
No.
I
No,
don't know. I
They
think
don't
the
even
only
get out of
thing
the
that
truck.
Okay.
no, they don't
because I
get
know
out of
they
their
have
truck.
those.
They'd have to almost have to get a dumpster,
Okay.
I would think.
Either that or
But they're still gonna have to walk to the dumpster and put it.
Who's
in
the
there.
person?
True.
Who
But-
are those people?
we had,
They need
you could
friends.
get a
Bishop.
smaller container. Was that a
Send,
piece
send
of
me
it?
their information, like the phone number, I'll contact them. I mean, I could just go over and do it for them. If they're gonna be, if they can't get out of the house, I can do it for them.
Donna Bishop.
Yep.
She and her husband are both disabled. wanted
Forward
to
that
know.
to my email,
Okay,
and then I'll contact them.
drive-in service for them.
Cause it's just the right thing to do for
Okay.
people that
Okay,
can't.
But they also could get smaller containers. These big containers are tough for somebody to haul.
okay.
Wasn't that part right
Yes, they can get 65-gallon containers rather than.
instead of the 95?
Yeah.
Overlay's got one.
Okay,
If there's, but, that's your right way to go first. If that doesn't work for you, there's another alternative maybe. Jason.
okay.
What's that?
Hmm.
What was it?
I said, if you're gonna do that, that's great,
Right.
but if that doesn't work for you, there is another
okay, yeah,
alternative.
okay.
The smaller container.
Yeah, I mean,
65 gallons.
Smaller
Okay.
container.
Okay,
Yeah, that other thing.
All right, did you have any other correspondence? All right, I received one from the DNR. So
Oh, great.
the DNR is notifying us that approximately 50 acres of land in the town of Forestville is going to be put on the Door County Land Trust, conservation for public recreation purposes. So they didn't tell me where the land was. And it's not, again, that you can really stop it in any way, shape or form, but it is going to go off of your tax bill. So I called over there and the 50 acres is right on, X. As soon as you cross, if you're coming from Rosaire, back toward Forestville and you're on X. As Soon as you cross the Anape River, that land that was for sale on the left-hand side.
The marsh area, right
Yeah.
next to the
Oh,
trail.
that
So
was,
that whole marsh
that's
section.
not the first time we've heard that.
Yeah.
Well, this is a done deal. It's done. The offer is in there. There's gonna be a closing on it. Cause I talked to the program director for like the first of the year. And he said, we have no plans of making trails in that marsh grass,
Well, it's a good.
but they
thing.
have that little field. Well, they sometimes do that,
They do.
you can do that. But anyway, there's that little field on top that kind of crosses. He said there, they would look at putting a driveway, a parking area. So that if people wanna park there and then go down the trail and stuff of that nature, and I thought, that's not all that bad, I guess,
Look for pollywogs.
something.
Okay.
So, the closing date is already set. So the land is gonna be done and bought and, by the Knowles and Nelson Scholarship Fund land purchase. Is what's actually the one funding it. So, just to make you guys all aware.
That's off of, the Katy Road?
Yep, yep.
Katy Road next.
Did you notice on our town bulletin board, there's a notice of foreclosure
I did,
outside on the bulletin board?
yeah, I did.
Okay, just so you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I had for correspondence. For roads. Item A. I have a memorandum of understanding. Will I go up? Come over. I got one here to sign. So basically, we did not add this to the other one he had, because there was no reason to change the other one. It was never a problem.
No,
It was there. So what I did is we drew up the new one to fall in play with the rest of County Line Road, which is going to be the unhighlighted area here.
Oh.
So you can look that over. I don't think we should have a problem with that. The town of Anapee and the town of Forestville share the 1.51 mile portion of County Line Road commencing at Old Substation, Forestville, that's our side, Wolf River Drive, Anapee side, and heading west to State Highway 42. Now, the breakdown of the portion. Anapee has 0.75 miles, we have 0.76 miles. An agreement at the town of Forestville meeting held today, November 18th, 2024. Both the town of Anapee and the town of Forestville jointly approved cost share of the above stated location. Which, as I'll continue reading here, but as we go down, right, our board is supposed to approve this, then I gotta get this to Tom. And they're gonna have it at their meeting to approve it. The town of Forestville will plow snow/ice and perform all winter, spring maintenance on the portion commencing at State Highway 42 and heading east for 7.6 miles. Which is
For 0.76 miles.
right, 0.76 miles. Did I not say point?
You said
You said
7.
7 points.
76 miles.
It's a little different there.
3/4 of a mile.
3/4 of a mile.
Yep,
Plus one.
a whole tick.
Which is why, that agreement was a handshake, verbal agreement and whatever else, which is why we took care of the funding on that portion to begin with from our last meeting. The town of Anapee will plow, snow, ice, and perform all winter and spring maintenance on the portion commencing from Wolf River heading west for 0.75 miles. Each township is responsible for any and all signage, road repairs, maintenance, etc. on their portion of road as outlined above. The above cost share is to begin basically now, November 18th, 2024, and continue until otherwise agreed upon by both Anapee and Forestville townships. So, I think we need a motion to accept this, and then I would need a signature of the two supervisors. And then I'll give this to the Township of Anapee for their meetings.
I make a motion to accept the memorandum of understanding November of 2024 between Forestville and Anapee.
I'd second that.
All right, I have a motion made by Jason to accept the memorandum as presented, and a second by Larry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that'll carry. I will need each of your signatures on there, right under mine.
Mhm.
And then I will get that over to them. Actually, if we sign one more, we should have one for our clerk.
Yeah, we'll send more. We'll send more.
Sure.
And. Yeah. Not here, so
Until Harry.
I'll put it on that.
Oh, you put it on the website. Might be able to do that.
Unless you want to sign mine and then we'll take it out, scan that and put it on the website.
And that's basically how you understood that. It was more of a
That's what-
gentleman's agreement is what we were always told.
Well, and
And then he kind of brought this little map out.
Yeah, apparently, the way I understand it,
Yeah, I think this
apparently
is from
before our time, Anapee was caught plowing their half of the road and of course was plowing the north half of the road. And so they got to, the former
Yeah.
board members got together and agreed to just what you're signing right here.
Yes,
And, so I was really shocked when I heard that, oh, well, this is our road. Anapee told me, that's our road.
well, and then we had both the highway commissioners from Kiwanee County and Door County at the meeting when we went down to, Town of Anapee's meeting a month or so back. And the truth of the matter is, whoever gets to that road first, be it Anapee or maybe Kiwanee County or Door County, they don't go plow part of it. They just they do the whole thing.
Yeah, they got turned around, yeah.
Whichever truck gets there first, they're the ones that plow it. Our agreement is that, hey, the cost for half is theirs, the other cost is ours.
Right.
So,
So where it comes into play is really now, we applied for that grant for county line, right, which is half theirs. Well, we got 90%, or, we will be getting that. Now, it came down to, well, would they be willing to pay, their portion of that? Well, and that's where they had said, well, the agreement is
No.
the agreement. Well, that's fine then. So now what we're doing is, you have the other half of the road.
See, that was not an issue, see, this, okay, sweet, now I'm gonna,
Yeah,
give you, hey, thank you for getting a 90%er on that road, I mean, that's the first time that I remember that a township ever got 90% funding for a mile and a half like you did. And when I applied it 7 years ago, I was only expecting 70%, and so you got 90%. Now, 7 years ago, that, we had a different highway commissioner, and that was not an issue. The current highway commissioner looked at an old book and said, well, that's, and where does the state where the towns were getting their portion for that. Now, the other thing I'd like you to consider, now this is in the future, but not too distant future if you do act. Now that you brought that town road, county line road and Old Krieger Road up to county road standards. You're 22 feet wide, it's striped, you got 4 inches of blacktop on it. Townships, you're getting $2,700 per mile road assistance, is that what it is this year, or 20, was 24, right? That's up to 27. A mile of road costs you to resurface upwards of $150,000
it's right.
and upwards of that. So in the township, with your budget, you're making these roads last 40 years. And a road like that, getting that heavy traffic on, will last from 17 to 18 years. You'll be redoing that road. The county has in their budget to redo approximately 17, 18 miles of road a year That's their budget. They set aside for that. And that's the normal length of a road. Under 20 years is the length of the length. So I would strongly ask you to consider turning Old Krieger Road, which would be a continuation of County O, and County Line Road up to Old Krieger Road, a continuation of County Road X.
Yes.
I think the county highway department would be in favor of that.
Well, we actually asked that at that meeting.
Did you? Okay.
And they,
They were open to that, to be honest with you.
Now and I think it'd be,
what's the process we have to go through, Roy?
you would have to, get both townships to agree to do this. You'd have to have a letter to each, from each town.
Only for that segment of County
Line.
Line Road.
And then you'd have
Because
to, and then
Old Krieger Road is ours.
the Old Krieger Road is yours and you make that request.
So right now, first off, Thad helped me greatly in that by saying there's different notches on the ladder to bring you up to the top of who's gonna get funded and not.
Yeah,
Okay? If you have a letter from this person and you have a
Yeah.
letter from that person and you do this and you do that, well, I did all of them things.
Yeah.
Okay, all of them. And the road badly needed it, and it truly is a safety issue to help relieve that truck
yeah, yeah,
pressure in that township.
Yeah.
Cause it's just dangerous there.
yeah.
And that helped a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're, I don't know that anybody here would be opposed to saying, okay, just make that an extension of County O and whatever else. It's just,
This is your shot. You can do it because,
cause it's beneficial to the townspeople themselves
Yeah.
instead of us paying all these money. The county has way more money than we will
well,
ever have.
they budget for that. They said, this, remember, tourist industry, and so we want good roads. And, but your roads is gonna start deteriorating in 5-6 years. You're gonna see the Old Krieger Road went to heck in one spring.
Yes, it did.
We quickly made that into a Class B road to save it. But it went real fast. And then the same thing with County Line, that went to buy real fast. And, now, how long before Pagels and Dairy Dreams get the digester and the evaporator system? I don't know how far S&S is away from that, but, I toured, Kennard Farms here 3 weeks ago. And of course, they're talking how much less manure is going to be hauling. But, Kennard is not the one giving us most of the traffic on that road. It's Pagel and Dairy Dreams is giving us the traffic on that road.
And that is what we said when we were.
When we were in that meeting,
Yeah.
the joint meeting with
Kiwanis
County
County.
Hannafy, they both agreed, both commissioners agreed to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we would go about initiating the move to making that extension of County Road X and extension of County Road, O.
A formal letter from the chair or the board to the highway commissioner.
I would,
That's the first step, yeah.
yeah, I would say that, I would make a motion that Kevin write a letter to our county commissioner, Pat Ash, to, pursue that both being coming, county roads, we turn it over. And we'd also, when you give that then to
That's what I
Tom
was just gonna
Stoller,
say when I give this.
ask Tom Stoller to take that to the Kiwanis County people. So we get that all wrapped up in one.
So how does that work? My letter goes to Thad.
Right.
And he's gonna present it to, does he have a board?
Yeah, he'll-
County board? Is it-
County Highway Committee.
It'll come to our highway committee,
Now you're a chairman of that committee?
yes.
That's good.
So then they look at that and they decide if we wanna take this or don't take this, because
Yes,
you're 100% right. Now is the time is brand new. I don't want something I gotta maintain.
well,
You know what I'm getting at, it's junk and I'm gonna spend.
I'll give you a little indication how Forestville got a little bit
County
from
O is getting.
Crossways.
The Old Krieger, then
From-
County Road.
County Road J to the corner of Carnet and Carnet.
Quarter mile.
That was a county road.
Jay,
Okay, that was a county road. And
County
the
line.
county said, oh, Forestville, would you take it over for us? We'll fix it up. And so it was nicely done. But guess what?
Would be.
There's a heck of a bridge there. Guess what? We had to fix it. And guess what? Since the time we got it, it cost us a lot more money to fix it than that little short road than it was. And so
That's
that was
just a
not,
small piece.
that was not a good,
half mile.
Wasn't a good
Half
trade.
mile.
good trick. No, no, no. So if you got,
Okay,
So-
now I know this.
I have a motion on the table
Okay.
from Larry that I write a letter.
I second that.
Okay.
Second, yeah.
We're just
I
making
have-
sure we had it written down.
I just had to get the
Second,
right
Jason.
roads, what we were doing.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that'll carry.
Okay.
And please let Todd Stoller know that.
Yep, yep.
I'll be, my,
Kevin.
that way we only got a quarter mile. We're not even a half a mile.
Now my question is the wording on this gonna be right?
Then Tom might say, hey, we can't get turned over to the county. We're gonna have to rework our deal for their 0.75.
Then they can come back again.
See, and I thought it was 0.76. So now this is written probably wrong.
Yeah, that changes this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. No,
What are we doing? We're doing.
So this is
Road work,
a
road work right
proposal.
away. Oh.
Yeah.
God, I was
Basically.
I was gonna be with the other stuff.
Uh,
The road work.
plus, you chose.
Well, you're still okay. You're still okay.
No.
Why?
Finally wrote north portion of what I got on there.
Yeah, have a good night.
I start right at the top and I go down and I find,
Good night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got- no, it's fine. That's why we're here.
So we can still accept this with those corrections.
yes,
These are like.
but then we're gonna have to re-sign,
Well,
get
no,
it signed.
these are the
Yeah.
cemetery checks.
The clerk
And
didn't
then
have
this
it.
is our bill.
Stop in and sign it.
Right.
Two checks for, just, yeah, you'll see them all.
Well, we'd have to look at my little thing, right? Exactly what I wrote down.
Oh, we need to sign, I signed with that.
No, checker never came up with
So
that
someone for me to
either.
step
That
in, remember.
Don't
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
Yeah, computer saying where the.
Yeah. Right.
Good night.
So if you look at item 5 on here, County Line Road, I put northern portion of 0.76 of a mile as defined by our memorandum of understanding between the town of Forestville and Anapee. 0.76 now actually 0.75.
No, our road is 0.76. Anapee's is
Okay,
0.75.
okay, so that is correct.
That is
Yes.
correct,
Okay,
yes.
good.
We have 1 point more than them.
Okay. So does that make sense how I have that written now?
I'm saying.
County line road.
Because does it
The
doesn't
north
divide it?
portion.
Isn't it the road divided down the middle and that's why they're always having an issue? There's.
Right, but
south
our
right and
agreement,
north right,
yeah, our agreement then is from the highway
Mhm.
to that 0.76
Yeah.
or whatever that
But if
is.
we give it away, we only got a quarter.
Yeah.
There's no upside for us to keep it. No.
No.
That's our biggest expense in our entire town is our roads.
But, yeah.
We have other roads in Weirville versus,
Yeah.
now we've got it this far, I mean, turn it over.
Cemetery.
Don't we, how much of that
Oh,
money, with the road do we lose? Do we
There's
lose
another
any
one
road?
there.
Oh, yeah, you would
Yeah,
lose,
yeah, so just on.
what was it?
Yeah.
So much per
So
mile.
much per mile.
It, it,
It
it
is a
doesn't,
mile and a
it
half.
doesn't
It
compute
doesn't
out.
really add it to much, the
No.
way I understood,
No.
so.
No, this is the right thing
There's
to
a whole
do.
bunch underneath that one.
So this would then become an ordinance, is this correct?
Yeah, that's what I have as ordinance number, I didn't put the number on the spot, but
Well, I have the old ordinance right here, which
Yeah.
was
which was,
2017-03. But you have to go off of this would be 24.
Yep.
Do we wanna change that wording or are we okay with this? County Line Road, which is true, County Line, northern portion. But there is no northern
Remember, you
portion,
don't have an address on this. one.
right? Cause it
No,
runs,
Two of them I don't.
it runs west, east and
east
west.
and west.
You're probably.
See, what I was
Yeah.
understanding, this goes back to
Saw that
dealing with
today. So.
Jerry
Put a
said
sticker
we
on
own the
here.
northern lane
Yeah.
on that road and
Personal.
the people own the southern lane on that, basically going east and west.
Mhm.
That was the understanding I had. So whatever you always did was always a handshake agreement between the two townships. If you invest any money, you have to have their agreement, your agreement, because they handle
Right.
it. You can't just do the northern half, our half.
That's where the memorandum comes in
Right.
here,
Right,
where we have. And that's where Stoller, the other Stoller.
yep.
Said, well, they've got that quarter mile, they don't gotta talk to us about either side of that road.
Mhm.
they're the ones that are responsible for it.
Right, right.
Okay, which then allowed us to do that. So I'm wondering if we just don't change this to basically go word for word
It's working out okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
right here.
That's only one line.
The
Okay, gotcha.
0.75,
Everything else has, oh, maybe it's under here. Yep.
Yeah,
With the northern portion, it would be the, change it to,
like, you know, from 42 heading west, 0.75. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The town of Forestville. Here she goes, on the portion commencing at State Highway 42, heading east, 0.76.
portion commencing,
State Highway 42, so you're going there and you're gonna head east, 0.76 miles. Now you're covered. See, because when you look at some of them things, and if they don't, they just gotta get their normal English. Be clear, it's the highway,
mhm,
that's not changing. We're gonna go this way, that far.
0.76 miles,
Yep,
alright,
This is gonna be the number.
2024.
2024.
yeah.
Okay.
So then I stricken from here, this line, and just replace it with this.
two
Yes.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
Yes. Yep. And then old substation,
North of county line and south of county J, that's how it was written in the original. That was
yep,
from-
because that's the next one over.
Yep.
North of County Line Road,
Mhm.
yep. Going toward County J, south of J, yes. Now you'll be able to post that section.
Right. Now, the other thing is, I know at one point during road review, we had discussed a portion of Elm Road. Are we gonna,
We are working, I am
Okay.
working on that,
okay,
just buy us some time here.
Yep.
What we really wanna know is the funding cycle gonna go through again,
okay, gotcha.
okay? So after we know what's going over here,
Mhm.
they will then tell us if they're gonna do another cycle.
Okay,
Then we can discuss possibly posting another road.
got it.
Because that's what those dollars are put for to begin with.
81,000. Did you see that?
Where you come?
Okay,
Shared document.
so we're gonna just
So
change
went
this.
to our,
Can we get a copy of this?
Oh, sure.
Sorry, I didn't make 3 copies, 4. Then we'll just do that copy right there. That'll then be the new proposal, and then we can,
Right, but you're gonna wanna have your.
yeah,
right
that's what you're doing now.
Yeah, but wouldn't we wanna just retype it? We can still pass this
Right,
tonight.
but so everybody walks away with a copy of what it's.
Oh,
gonna be
what it
written.
is,
Yeah,
okay.
so that's the only reason, then I can retype it,
Yeah,
so it looks proper. Do you like your Starlink?
we have it at the,
Does it ever fail on you guys? I mean-
shop. I haven't heard the shop say anything.
Oh,
We
okay.
don't have it on the parlor. We have broadband on the parlor.
Okay.
We have that up in the shop and they seem to be happy with it.
Compared to broadband, what do you think? They're both the same in this case?
We don't have a lot of problems with broadband.
Oh,
It seems
okay.
to be doing okay,
Okay,
but, either broadband's cheaper.
we had broadband and we had just.
I
very
think
poor
it all
service.
depends, because we
Well-
have the tower.
Yeah, we have a tower down by us,
Oh.
we had the old. The fire tower.
Sure,
Oh.
yep.
And, it just wasn't a great service for us. It was usually down in a rainstorm, really down, but there's a lot of trees waving around that area
Yeah.
too, so yours should be almost a direct line, I
Right,
think, yeah.
ours is,
So-
yeah. We don't have much.
Yeah, and you can't go cutting all the trees down, I guess, just to get your service.
At home, we use T-Mobile.
Yeah, we do that too now at home, and we're thinking about switching over to Starlink because there's gonna be more bodies at home, working from home. It
Sure.
looks like, so
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's, this is just,
Kind of a corrected one.
yeah, this is the corrected one to like make the actual corrections on the computer. But at least this way we can actually get through this portion of it tonight, and then I'll make
Yeah,
the new
and then-
corrections
We can sign it,
typed.
And then you
because
can,
it'll be approved.
Yeah.
And then all she's gotta do
And
is
then-
when she gets it, we'll
Then
just stop
you'll
and
see it,
sign.
then you can put it on the website if you want.
yeah. Oh, it should be signed.
Yeah, but that's,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I took this other thing that's,
Yeah. Mhm.
for village powers.
mhm.
All right,
I would, make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2024-02 to designate, Class B highways for Old Elm Road, Rosewood Road, Katy Road, Old Substation Road, and County Line Road, that portion commencing from State Highway heading east 0.76 miles.
and I will second that. So I have a motion from Larry to accept the ordinance as just stated, and a second by Kevin, all in favor? Aye,
Right.
opposed? Hearing none, that will carry.
Good, and you get that to us.
Mhm, mhm.
Is that a copy from you? Thank you.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna move these a little bit. Old Krieger Road and County Line Road, we already just did that. The status of Idlewild Roads, it's up to the state, so you're not really gonna hear anything there until mid-January or a little later. Road work right of way. That's where that little paper, and I don't know if I had brought mine, Larry, I might have.
This thing,
Well, that's the little sheet that we had, and then the one you just had right there,
this guy?
for the feeds and stuff, yeah. So. We were just looking at these things, and this is the underground right of way, application fee.
Right,
Some
and
of
I
these-
don't, I have a number of things to do with these things, and I don't.
Yeah, but some of this I think is strictly for, the biggest one we're talking about is public service,
Right,
you know?
you're talking about the access underground,
Yeah, right, so here's
but
kind of
it's
a flow
embedded
chart,
in our,
here's a flow chart, of what we think it should be.
So am I supposed to be billing the WPS for
No.
this stuff?
no.
This is the thing that this, and part of that is this thing here, this is why this is driving me kind of cuckoo, okay? Public service can't seem to ever get their monies to us, right? It takes
Right.
forever.
Yes,
Therefore, I wasn't accepting any applications without a check. Once we have check in hand, it doesn't make any difference. So public service just said, you know what, to the town of Forestville, you get a hold of the township and you just fill out your application. They send me the little paperwork that shows the little map and what you're gonna do. And now the homeowner or those people need to.
Here's what's in our application
This
form
month.
for underground right of way. These are the fees,
That was,
Okay, so
and above ground fee
so.
is $100. And the
Yeah,
access fee.
explain
we're
is
still
heavily
waiting for ours.
Right,
Now,
I
can
know.
be $50.
right, so when we kind of looked at
This
these,
is a void
I
check.
thought the
Okay.
permit application fee would be avoided,
That's
right?
right.
We
So
would
this is
remove,
washing out this.
Right.
because you're already
We got
filing for a
something.
permit to do these to begin
So you
with,
have to
right?
write a check back to him.
Well,
I don't know.
an application fee is
I
$50.
would think if we got,
For
if he
the
paid this
Forestville
and then they
County
paid us.
Established filing
Then I
fee
don't
structure
know.
for
I'm
utility
pretty
work
sure.
within public right of way.
Even if it's.
Now, this is where I have a heartburn. We have it buried into a
I mean, we could
application
ask him for
form.
sure, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
And when we put it up on the website, that's what they're gonna be paying going down. If they're gonna do this thing manually, which is what public service would like to do, but they don't ever submit it with a check.
Correct.
That's.
The public service is saying they can't, right? But they got so many departments, it never gets to that bill person until God knows when.
Right,
Therefore, they're telling the
Okay.
homeowner to take care of it.
I
But
got a refund.
as I looked at these things, to me, opening or boring should be two separate line items. Okay, boring is like you're gonna go underneath that
They do an
road.
audit once a year, and if you're
boring of a paved road. There is no damage to your road doing that at all, or potential damage. It's so,
Opening of a
We paid for
paved
more than
road.
what we used. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that's that.
right, roadway. So what I'm proposing is we take this boring,
It's not too bad, and this is.
and he has his own, get rid of boring out of here and make it its own, get rid of that ore. Opening the road, now opening the road to me, $650 isn't gonna be enough. You wanna cut my road?
That's it, yeah.
That, to me, should be.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that being $950, $1,000, whatever.
Boring under a paved roadway.
Yep. That's talking directional boring.
Yeah,
That, to me, should be no more than $100. That's its own identity, right? So
I'll call her.
your daughter's gonna build a house and they have to bore underneath that road. They didn't damage anything. There's nothing there to damage.
but you just put it in service.
You're gonna put that service, right? So I'm proposing $100 bill for that. Done.
Opening of a paved.
Now,
road.
that's different. Now we're cutting the blacktop and we gotta make sure, cause if who knows, they didn't put it in properly, it's settled.
Well,
so-
yeah, like we had. spent
Yeah.
time and stuff like
A
that.
lot of crazy stuff can happen there.
Yeah, yeah.
Therefore, you wanna have dollars that if something does go wrong and we have to fix it, we've got some money to go back to. So I am fine if we looked at that and said, you know what, I'm okay with 950 right there, to be honest with you. That one should be costly.
950.
Just because of the potential, the settling, the whatever
Yep,
else. The penalty for starting work early, I agree with that, yeah. Underground access parallel to road, two
Today.
inspections. I don't even know what that is.
Can actually.
Access, parallel wall. No idea.
I can't even think of what that would be. Underground access, parallel road. Two inspection.
Well, let's see, they're checking here based on the fee schedule, what do you need?
I looked at
So-
this and it's like, everybody just has this and they all copied it from somebody.
Yeah, you're right.
But there is no meaning to any of it,
Right.
and it's crazy. And if I'm filling out a permit for boring, I'm already filling out a permit, why am I doing a permit fee again?
Mhm.
Right, if I wanna go to opening the road, I'm filling that out, I shouldn't have to pay another fee to fill it out, isn't that part of my money?
Right,
So I'm just saying, the permit application fee should just be gone, you're doing that to begin with,
the permit fee, the application fee.
right?
So take that out.
Cause it should be already included in my 100 or my 1,000 or my 950. Well, maybe not your 1,000, because that's a shame on you.
Yeah, but you got 950 for opening a paved roadway, 100 for boring it. Any, underground access parallel, what the hell is that?
Additional inspections, so you have to go back out and look at it after the fact.
Well, yeah, but, okay, you don't go out and inspect it beforehand.
No.
No, right? Because you're gonna have that application sitting here, he's showing me the picture, it's a basically they know where they can
Yep.
go. There's no even reason to, I just think these two lines,
They should have been, I think they should. just
Should be
take it right
voided.
out, take it right out of there and get done with it. Cause then you just move on to your boring fee, which is basically your under the road. Right
right?
there, yep, that should stay, and then your major cost if they have to cut the road.
So where he was saying is like, well,
950.
even if I gotta go overhead,
Mhm.
well, then do I have to pay a fee for this?
You shouldn't have.
Well, you're not cutting anything, and they're all above a certain height by law anyway.
But even like $1,000, shouldn't it be $1,000 and?
No, that's for starting without a
early.
permit.
Got
That's
it.
a
Yes.
penalty.
Oh, that's a penalty.
So 950.
Yeah.
Is for if you're cutting it,
Right, I'm gonna cut my black
100
and here you
to
go,
bore
and 100 to bore, yeah.
and
And, we're looking at just removing these other two, I don't know, underground access parallel.
so what we have is another one out
Parallel
there.
to the road is, if this is my road, I'm running right here anyway.
Right,
Here we have an above ground manure line. Permit and installation. That's
Above
under-
ground.
above ground. That's where you're running your lines
through the culverts
Yep.
and things of this
and
nature.
the right of way, the ditch, whatever.
Okay,
So permit to install and operate an above ground manure line. So this one,
how much is it?
$100
So you'd have to do that to every field?
every year,
I think it's a once a year
once a year.
permit thing.
So you're just basically saying we're doing this within your township, it'd be like a fire
Proposed,
permit,
yeah.
here you go.
Here,
But that's not so critical, right? I mean, that's somewhat reasonable,
yeah, you do that.
and at least we're aware of it. So now I'm wondering, has we ever gotten that from, let's just say, Ponderosa, Kinnard, or
Well,
whatever?
they don't do any manure lines above ground.
Okay, so.
They
but
have
how
to if
about
they
my-
have a
That's my
dumpster.
point. If I got right, I'm gonna park in your ditch
Right.
and I'm pouring these trucks into it. Boop, 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 boop,
Well, it's
boop.
not hose line, I guess.
It's
Your
not a
hose
line.
Your hose line is in your field.
The
So
hose
you
line's
have your
there
dumpster.
as
and you-
long as they're done.
It's like
But your
us coming from
dumpster-
it's like us when you're knifing it in with a hose that's coming directly from your pit.
Yeah,
Okay,
and you
so
gotta pump, maybe,
Yeah, and you got a pump in between that's pumping it.
here's what I've been told. Frustrations. So the county is charging a fee for that thing because when they come in my ditch, they wreck my ditch and now I gotta deal with it. Just what I'm told, on the bad side of things. It's quite a bit of money to begin with, I'm thinking, wow. So there is that potential. Even when I call and I ask, let's say Randy, for example, because I wouldn't let them go down Rosewood anymore, right? After that first year, and we looked at the bridge, it's absolutely not an option. But I had to make a 10-second decision. And I had no options. I didn't talk to the previous landowner. I didn't get a chance to talk to Randy, who was renting it. Our trucks are here, we gotta do something. Okay. So we did what we had to do. But at that point, Randy's like, well, even if they do that, a lot of times they damage the edge of my field or whatever the case is, my section of crop is kind of wrecked. So maybe there should be some form of a fee to do that. And I'm not saying exorbitant, but what are you, $100 for the year? Maybe that's it. There you go. It's $100 for the year, so at least have a mindset of $100 a year, and if you do any damage, it's gonna be plus the damage. I don't know.
I don't know that we spell that out, what we now have. Install compliance with map and project information liable for spills or leaks. Remove lines immediately when pumping ceases within 7 days of the date of the installation. May request that the line be removed at any time due to road right of way maintenance operations. Installation date, removal, location sizes. And deemed necessary by the town board for purpose of public safety, the owner of the pipeline may be required to remove it, locate in town right away. If prompt removal doesn't occur after proper notice, town will remove the line bill of cost to the owner of doing so. That's that, other than what we have going on right now, that's the only thing we've got there. And it carries a fee of $100 a year. Expires 31st of December every year. If you have utilities being put in overhead lines, pole,
Cause what they're saying is, well, you're still in the right of way. It's a right of way. To me, all I'm doing in my mind is I'm taxing my constituents again for their ditch that they already pay to maintain for all. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just don't think anything that's up there already has to be legal, it has to be a certain height. And the only one shoving things up there is gonna be public service or the phone company, but they still are held to a standard.
They're not all overhead. Not always.
You mean the phone company?
Um,
Yeah, but at that point, that would then fall into, as we move forward, with
Right
that,
of way.
the right of way, right?
Right.
That's where the little flow chart comes in.
Yes,
Are you a municipality? Do you have an existing main line here?
yeah,
You're gonna tap into your main line and go to that person's house, that's okay. You wanna run a new main line? That's not okay, now you need permit.
mhm,
That was the whole purpose of the flow chart.
Yeah, the flow chart works. I
yeah.
like the way it's laid out.
So I guess in my answer to this thing, I would like to strike these couple things out of here.
Take the permit application and the underground access parallel road.
Yep. Yep, and the additional inspection fee would be removed. You would have opening of the road as its own identity,
Mhm.
boring of the road its own identity,
Mhm.
penalty, and then the septic. Excuse me, the manure one is its own identity all on its own, is it not?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is
Okay.
totally separate.
But now, every farmer who does that should be getting a permit for that, right?
Yeah, anybody that runs the lines through the ditches.
Right,
Which means as soon as you
But-
put that great big thing sitting there, you're in my ditch.
is it a manure line?
It's
No,
not a manure line. That's only a,
that's a frac tank,
that's a freight, yeah, that's a tanker.
that's a
Or
tank,
that's a,
what do you call it, not frac,
no, it's a dumpster.
basically, yeah, it's just a tank.
And that's okay. I'm asking, I'm not saying, I'm not judging, I don't know, man.
I don't think, that gets it off the road,
Right.
that's all that does. So they stay in the driving lane,
Yep,
they put up a sign, they discharge into a tank.
and then move on.
Then they run through the field, they knife it into the field.
Well, it's hosed, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's
whatever.
hose,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
They're
but that
not
hose
putting
is not going in
anything-
the ditch.
That's not in the ditch, just a tank in the ditch.
So we're good
where
with
they
that.
drop. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Only thing I'd like to see them do is just make a turnaround at the corner like you did up in School Road.
That is a nice turnaround.
That's nice.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Limit
then
trucking
really,
on
the
the road.
manure thing should be just fine, the way it is now.
It is, the
we
way
have
it sits, yes.
No questions there. But
So
then I would
this
like,
one. So this is for utility work in the right of way.
pretty much, this is really what it comes down to is public service.
But we don't have, what the hell is this parallel thing? That's baloney.
Yeah, cause we
So
don't
we
even
only
know.
have those two.
That's all
fees.
public service is
A
gonna do.
950 and a 100 or 1,000 if you start doing it without a permit.
Right, we really don't want you to open the road, that's what it comes down to,
Correct,
Right.
period, and if you do. There's much more potential for us to have to
yeah.
take care of that,
And if you go overhead, you do it.
yep.
They do it now.
Right, but they're still looking, they're saying, well, you're in the right of way, I gotta drill a pole in there,
For polling.
cause you're within the right of way, wow. They come with a truck, they just shove an arm over, they're sitting on the road, they drill the thing in and it's done, they don't wreck our road. Even though you're in my right of way, they always keep it on the edge of the property and put their tie down if they need them.
Yeah.
I just don't think you need anything for being in there.
I would have to agree with you.
So I'd like to look at having a motion made to accept, delete some of these. And make one separate, and then changing of that fee.
Well, I'll make that motion, that we change the fee structure, we stricken the permit application fee, stricken additional inspection review fee, stricken the underground access parallel row to inspection fees. Make the boring of the paved roadway a separate line item of $100. Make the penalty for starting your work without a permit $1,000. And make a separate line of the paved roadway of $950,
Mhm.
Yep, cutting it open.
cutting it open.
Yeah, so boring under,
Mhm.
where it is 100, opening a paved roadway is 950. And if you start work without a permit, you're gonna pay $1,000 in addition.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that's the penalty,
just in addition, yes.
get the permit. Cause I think we're making it more than reasonable at this point.
That would be the motion.
I will second the motion. So I have a motion made from Jason, to change
And what I
the,
did it, if I did it like this, penalty for starting work without a permit, $1,000 in addition to
I think.
any
Yes.
above fee.
I think that-
Oh,
yes,
yeah, like any above you.
very
Relate
clear,
that to you
very
later.
easy to
We
understand.
can watch it
Exactly
together and
what
we'll
I-
take notes when we watch it.
So I have the
You're not a
motion from
victim.
Jason to make the changes as stated, and a second from Kevin, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it'll carry.
We'll just watch and take notes.
I know. Oh my God, that was.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, you could put the flow chart out there at the same time, and Jan has it on the computer, so it isn't just whatever.
And send
So-
them
Right,
flow
you-
chart.
How do we get our money back from Wisconsin Public Service?
That's a challenge sometimes.
They're supposed to send it, but from my understanding, you always have that same guy, the designer. Okay,
Oh, Rob,
yeah,
yeah, yep,
from my understanding, when I told Rob that you were gonna pay it, this his exact words to me were, then I am not billing him for it.
yeah, I don't understand what that means.
Because when they tell you that the cost of this project is gonna be $7,000, this fee
Is
was
included
included in
in
the
that
$7,000. So then if it was $800 or $1,000 he could have taken out of there, he only billed you $6,000. That's it. That fee was not
Okay.
included in
Cause
this
he
number.
told me that and I just didn't understand what
That's
he
what
was
he
trying
meant.
to tell me. Okay,
So now when you're coming, you know, like when we just applied it for power over by us,
yep,
once I gave you that check, that was the end of it. At that point, I'm issuing the permit for public service to do their work. Then it's done and over with. Is that making sense? You don't have to send a bill anymore because we've been compensated already, or I'm not giving you a permit.
okay,
That's
so
really-
you're getting it.
I'm getting
basically
paid
before-
before I issue a permit,
Okay.
Yeah,
which is what it should be.
Me, yeah.
And that's why,
then-
So how does this work? So you wrote a check to WPS,
no, I wrote a check to town.
To
to the town, okay,
Yeah.
but then WPS wrote a check to the town.
No, WPS never collected money from me for that.
Well,
they
they sent
sent
us,
us a
yeah, they
check.
sent us a check
This is
for
so
$700.
confusing. I'm like, oh my God.
Let me see.
Yeah, where?
Does it say Cherry?
Permit on 772 Cherry Lane.
That's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, they sent a check now to us.
Well, then they billed me, is what they did.
So now we have,
So we have to send that, so the town has to pay you back,
right? Okay,
What
so
that
you
would
were
be.
right.
okay,
That's right.
Because in essence, I'm paying for it twice.
yep,
Yeah, and if you get them like that, and as long as they're telling you what it is, you can know for a fact, I'm not handing out a permit until we have money in hand.
Okay.
It just isn't gonna happen.
so,
And that's
so it's
correct.
gotta go back to somebody. then.
Correct, now you know if they send you a check, well, here, well, that's not right. That person should get his check back, it's no, just send an email and whatever, but.
Okay,
Okay.
So you'll have to deposit that and then we send the check back to me for that.
all right.
See, I had no idea. Okay,
So
so.
now I'm understanding why you guys are confused. What is this for? What? Okay. That's the road stuff. So we're going on to payment of bills.
Okay.
Whew. Okay.
We'll get there.
So there's, one paper clip of all the election expenses and then another paper clip of the cemetery expenses.
Yeah.
So they're paper clip, so you
there's
gotta sign them
multiple
all.
checks.
Yeah, it's multiple checks, yeah.
This is the highway.
And we did send the invoice to Emma Green, cause her,
Yeah, well, I saw it
Yeah.
on the receipt, right?
cause her is on the.
So Dina, do you know how to read that county bill to find out what the gravel was for by the culvert that they put in for us?
It should tell you. Shouldn't it?
Jared,
Okay.
that's a terrible deal.
Did I forward
It
that
is.
bill to everybody? You
Yeah,
did.
I have-
yeah,
I
you
have.
forwarded it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
just
on
wondering.
this, you have
Well,
it,
because-
don't you?
once we get that,
Or
then
don't you
you
have
will
it
send a
attached?
bill
I
for
just
the
attached
culvert
the
and
Oh,
the
there's the
gravel
front.
work
This is what I
to
did.
the guy that, cause that was not part of our deal.
So
There's
whatever
one-
they did on, is it North Carnet Road? It's what was done?
No, that would have been, Krieger,
I mean, Old Krieger Road?
yeah. Not the whole thing, just a little culvert. They put in a culvert. They didn't purchase the culvert, we purchased the culvert. Which you'll be reimbursed for. Then their labor and the gravel, because the ditch wasn't dug out. You know what I mean? If we put it in there, they'd almost have to take it back out. It would have just been, it would have been a waste of.
Yeah, they only tell you what road it went on. That's all they.
So I'll have to call them and ask.
Yep.
There's only one there, right? Yeah. But this one has the two.
Great, then the next one I'll have.
Your feed needs to go again? Yeah?
Yes, but that's on my credit card, which I did not,
Oh, okay.
was not charged this month.
Yeah.
So
Where you go to food now?
I went to North Street Deli in Algoma, the bakery shop. Yeah, we went there. That was not on my,
We don't have any restaurants in our little town.
I was thinking hen house, but I didn't know. I didn't want like pizza or anything and we did little slider sandwiches.
Oh, sure.
And cookies and what else did we have, Jason? Jason ran for me.
I handled security of that event, make sure we kept certain.
Tell you what, it ran smooth though.
It was good, yeah.
Very well done.
And
So, I mean, I didn't hear one complaint, people weren't waiting and there was a lot of people. So,
Even the federal inspector, like. that-
We did it early.
you guys are lucky, yeah, from 4:30 to 6 was just crazy.
I actually I know one of the girls came to work and she's like, I was in line before 7 o'clock. She says, and I was standing outside in the rain, and she said, I gave up.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? About 10 o'clock, you leave here
No problem.
and you go vote. And she
Yeah.
said, it was nice. I walked right in.
Right, yeah, it's just like, I couldn't believe the people before 7, it was crazy, you know?
yeah, well, you wanna try to get there before work. I did that one time and I was here for about an hour and a half. I said, that ain't happening again.
Well, my daughter won't come until the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I ain't doing that.
Other people are, yeah.
Okay, payment of bills. Can I get a motion to,
Can I make a motion that we pay the bills as presented?
Okay, second,
all right, I have a motion by Larry to pay the bills as presented and a second by Jason, all in favor? Aye.
Alright,
Opposed? Hearing none, that'll carry. Announcements? Do we have any?
Just election papers.
What is that?
We have to get them.
Yep, I have them for you. Want them now or?
Will.
After? Okay.
Okay, okay. Item 21, discussion and items of future meeting.
did Bader get back to you by chance? Cause I called Bader one day to get talking to him about.
That one road,
Answers road for the brush, and he said he'd get back to us at the next meeting,
No, he didn't.
and yeah, that's, okay, so he didn't contact you either?
No. No, usually he's Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
He must have forgotten.
So how does the agenda look? We'll take off number 8. Number 7 we'll take off. Are we gonna try to do closed session for December? We'll add
Yeah.
that.
We have to,
Okay, and then.
but then what was wrong with this one is it wasn't
Properly
labeled.
noticed.
You gotta basically tell them why we're going to close session, right?
And cite the statutes for closed session and say that we'll be discussing the broadband.
Oh,
Basically
okay,
funding and stuff of that nature.
Yeah,
okay. What about
it's a
roads?
discussion with regard to broadband projects.
So roads, you can take off the old Krieger thingy and the county line thing should be done, the class B part.
Okay.
Idlewild, you can leave that on there because
Yeah.
until we know.
Yeah.
Road work right of way, do we wanna leave that on there until we get a chance to kind of relook at that a little bit?
Well, we can leave that on there until we get into, we're not gonna talk about that again
Until you get into broadband a little bit.
until you
further.
get further into it, yeah. I'd leave it on there.
Okay.
Because if we're gonna be signing a contract ultimately to have this stuff installed in your roadway, they're gonna build a new plan is to have a new network there. So they're gonna disrupt your right of ways. And you wanna make damn sure when you contract for that, you have restoration
Right, and how they're doing it,
and
they're
how
not
they're
wrecking
doing,
everything.
yes. And that, so I'd say I'd leave that on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Until such time, but that's probably a year away.
Yep, okay, so under roads, we're gonna get rid of A for next meeting. C for next meeting, D for next meeting. And the only two you're gonna keep is B and E. And then for the next meeting, do we wanna have a chance to do the proper wording to have the board look at all fees
Oh, yeah.
annually, right, when we're doing our budget?
Right, but we're already embedded, tonight we added another one into here.
Yeah, but you're doing them separately. I think what we're trying to do is didn't the township
That
association
they
have the proper wording?
recommended that we have an annual review of fees.
Right, and then we can change them.
Because last month we did one, and then we do this one, and we're, you know, it's hodgepodge along. So, yeah,
So, what would
and
be,
then,
well, it's not an ordinance.
no, it would be a resolution to review our fee schedule on an annual basis. Is basically what it would be. Did I send this,
Did you get a notice that this came in?
Yes, yeah.
did I
Is
get
it
this
from
sent to you
LLP?
guys?
No,
It
it's
attached, it sent right to
Reasoning
LJP.
for
No, no,
a
it's
closed
from the
session.
Department of Health.
Yeah, it was at the bottom of that email or part of that email,
But
but we'll,
Yeah,
Shared
well,
revenue
this was the advice I had gotten.
Yep.
And what I provided to you at the beginning of the meeting was the requirements for a closed meeting.
can I keep this?
You can.
Okay.
This is from the Towns Association lawyer. And this was the advice I had gotten.
Great.
And you
Is that
gave that
always more
to
than-
Teresa, if she didn't see it,
okay,
and you did see it.
I did see that.
Okay.
Because what I'll do is
Okay.
make sure that that's worded properly then for our next meeting.
Right.
Okay, anything else we're gonna go on for the future meeting? Okay, then the next town board meeting will be December 16th, 2024 at 6:30 PM. Looking for an adjournment.
And make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Okay.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.